The Nick Rekieta situation continues to be just kind of heartbreaking, man, as somebody who used to be an avid viewer, used to be a supporter, now just takes a look at the basis of the facts and goes, what happened? What happened, man? Like, shout out to Mr. Medicare, who did a big old stream here over the past couple of days and had like 20,000 people just watch and just see his descent into absolute madness. And then, yeah, right at the end, when Medicare was basically on the verge of tears, you could hear he was getting choked up a little bit. And Nick had everything. He had the world at his fingertips. He was the guy who was at the forefront of all of this brand new Lawtube genre. He was the guy, man. Like, he was getting handpicked by a bunch of different people. He could have broke out of this and created something enormous, but he decided to give in to short-term gratification. And now that toxic spiral has found him staring down the barrel of a lengthy prison sentence. And now that we're on the other side of the long weekend, now we can start to break down a couple of the newer facts that have been elucidated in the story. First, we're going to end up going over a decent defense, at least on the Nick side of things, and then go over the recently revealed search warrant, which, all we had to go on the last time we talked about this were the 3 different charges. The possession of a sizable amount of narcotics, banned substances, an associated firearms charge, and then, of course, child neglect. All of which, in light of the search warrant being released, you could kind of assume were, at least for the last 2, more tacked on charges based on different statutes and how goofy Minnesota law is. But when you start to see what ultimately ended up happening after the search, what brought on the search, things become a little bit more clear. But as things do move on, because all we have is, yes, a probable cause search warrant, reasons why the police went in there, what they ended up collecting. Not all the facts are at play here. And in the words of Nick Rekieta, we need to have things as transparent as possible to make sure that as one of the defenses for Nick that's out there, okay, we need transparency in every single aspect of these developments.
One of the reasons that video is critical and should be in every single courtroom in every single case. Video and transparency of the courts is something I'm pretty passionate about. 1, because I'm self-interested in making money off of them. 2, because it protects the people from judicial abuse or abuse by the state. And 3, because it protects the citizenry from lies by people about the abuse of the state.
There we go. And that's, it kind of circles back to what they're talking about here. In the caption for this clip, okay, please sign X Josh. That's Josh Boone, who runs the Kiwi Farms, which really was kind of the brainworm that really set Rekieta off in the past year or so. He's trying to raise $3,000 or $5,000 to get the body cam footage of the police officers that went in and conducted the raid on the Rekieta residence. Like, yeah, transparency. The fact that there's a bounty on that shouldn't just be publicly available information. That's very interesting, but again, Minnesota's a goofy-ass place, so we'll just have to simply wait for the release of that video, and because the Kiwi Farms is going to do what the farms is going to do, I'm sure we'll probably see that footage, and whether or not there was some improprieties taken on by the state, and if there were any constitutional violations that were committed. Which is what we're going to have to start off by talking about, because, okay, there's a bit of a schism that has been created over the past couple of days, if you haven't been following this as closely as I have, because, like I said, I've spent hundreds of hours, no exaggeration, watching Nick Rekieta, following Nick Rekieta, being grateful for his influence that has made me a better content creator. So to see his downfall and to see these charges associated with it, oh man, I want to get to the bottom of this stuff. I want to know what's going on, and I want to deliver that information to you guys as unbiasedly as possible. And because we don't have the full set of facts right now, and because some of the stuff is still out there in the ether, a man is innocent until proven guilty, which is kind of where we're at, because again, there's a bunch of different allegations over the top of this, some more heinous than others. And of course, if they're just gonna only stay allegations and not be proven of anything, well, the man deserves to be innocent. But that aside, getting down to the facts that we do have right now, you could come to the conclusion with a bunch of other auxiliary information, taking a look at his streams, taking a look at his sporadic posting, his locals posting, some other aggrieved goofs that think Nick's downfall is well deserved. I don't really care about any of that stuff. I just want to hear the arguments on both sides for the Robert Barnes, Viva Fry side of this stuff, because there is a big old schism in Lawtube. And the other side of this, which we'll get to in due time because I kind of fall on one side as opposed to the other, especially with new facts that are out there. So let's talk about Robert Barnes, somebody who, for a long period of time, I held in very high regard. I've made videos about Robert's takes on things. I've cited him as a good resource on issues, and yeah, the man is smart, okay? There are very few constitutional lawyers that are out there that know more about the ins and outs of the system and have called things better than Barnes, okay? He's top tier in my opinion when it comes to legal analysis. There's other things that he opines on, something that happened in on and around the beginning of October of last year that have led me to have a less than positive opinion about him, but when it comes to the law, the man knows his stuff. So, Barnes and his partner in crime, Viva Fry, discussed the Rekieta stuff. I do believe it was on their Sunday live stream that they do every week, okay? I used to watch that a long time ago, but that was back when they were under 10,000, well before any of the Rumble stuff kicked off. But actually, it would have been during 2020. That would have been about the last time that I really checked in on this stuff. But regardless, they're very popular and they're very learned individuals. So if Barnes thinks that there's a three-pronged approach, technically four-pronged approach as to why the crimes against Nick will not stand scrutiny in the courts, might as well take a look at it, okay? And shout out to Legal Mindset, who we're actually going to hear from a little bit later in this video for this PowerPoint, actually. I do believe he used it on one of his live streams, and it was on his locals, which, for full transparency, I've supported Andrew's locals before, still a member of that page, a big-time supporter, and yeah, I'm spoken with the man before and have nothing but great things to say about him. Shout out and subscribe to Legal Mindset. Great dude. But this is now back talking about Barnes because, like I said, four prongs that are right here. The Second Amendment, obviously, one of the gun charges that's right there, okay? And even with Minnesota's funky laws, the Second Amendment, it supersedes everything else if we're going to keep it a buck. So, he's simply saying that those gun charges are unconstitutional under the Second Amendment, which is, of course, that is definitely a stance that you can take, and I'm sure there is precedent in higher courts that have overturned certain rulings, but we'll have to see that ultimately works out, right? And then the Fourth Amendment, the right to the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and efforts against unreasonable search and seizures shall not be violated, no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Yeah, because when they were making this case, obviously on Sunday, we didn't have the search warrant come out. And, well, it's a decent case, okay? And it's definitely a theory that Nick was very strongly holding on to, specifically on locals. The amount of people accepting a government narrative is both surprising and unsurprising, but it is what it is. I mean, yeah, maybe it's a little bit more reasonable for people to believe somebody who's not a raging addict right now. I'm just saying, man. So yeah, illegal search and seizure, I guess, but this is starting to really sound like a sob-sit argument that Nick would normally laugh at instead of just try to take seriously. Sixth Amendment, in all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy public trial. An impartial jury is state and district, whereas the crime shall, have been committed. Of course, having proper standing and then being in front of an impartial judge and jury, which, okay, the judge assigned to Nick's case is somebody that Nick has had previous dealings with, specifically an ongoing civil case in regards to defamation that Nick has done his damnedest in order to try to make for the toughest case for his defense to try to stand up against, and then also making wild claims about the judge. It's like, yeah, you get that judge and it goes to court, and it's like, yeah, it's going to be really tough for that female judge that you have to separate the emotions of the individual on trial from the facts in the case. So yeah, I could kind of understand some trepidation and potential Sixth Amendment violations if it ends up going forward in that form. And then, of course, the Eighth Amendment, excessive bail shall not be required nor excessive fines imposed for cruel and unusual punishment inflicted. I do believe it was a $50,000 bond that was placed on Nick, which for a first-time offender, even with the charges and the amount of drugs that were there, 26.5 grams, which now we have a little bit more information on, did seem a bit steep, but could you convince anybody? Could you convince an appeals court that was an excessive amount of bail. A lot of these are reaches, Rob. Not entirely sure. So from theories, now we can go to the search warrant. It's 11 pages, but that's not entirely full of useful information. So we'll just go ahead and skim over and get to the stuff that we actually want to see on this one. First page, you obviously have one of the officers, the one in fact, Quinn Poplum, who filed for the search warrant on the basis that he believes that there was controlled substances, including methamphetamine, cocaine, or any other controlled substances prohibited by law and paraphernalia commonly associated with the sale/uses of the controlled substance, items that would show controlled substance use that would not qualify as illegal drug paraphernalia, is or are at the premise of the person described as. Obviously, Nick's address is blocked out because, for good reason, okay? Don't want to spread any of that stuff. Grounds for filing the warrant: possession of property of the things above are described in the constituents of a crime, constitutes a crime. Property or things above described constitutes evidence which tends to show a crime that has been committed or tends to show a particular person has committed a crime. All right, that's all fair enough, well and good, citing different experiences the officer has that would lead them to be suitable affiant for executing this search warrant. That's basically a big fluff piece for the officer, right? So moving around to the case background. Okay, let's take a look. On May 16th, 2024, Candahoy, sure, County Sheriff's Office Sergeant Dave Nestor received a report regarding possible child neglect and controlled substance use. The reporter indicated that Nicholas Robert Rekieta resides at blank in Candahoy County, Spicer, Minnesota. Okay, he resides as a residence with his wife Kayla and their 5 children, ages 6 to 16. The reporter indicated that 4 people from the church had gone to him reporting neglect to the children, possible controlled substance use, and questionable relationship with an additional couple. Oh, it was reported that Nicholas is a social media blogger. That's one way that you could put it, I guess. And he and his wife Kayla had befriended the hosts from a different local social media blogger. Yes, they will become important to this. Those individuals were identified as Aaron Michael M. Holt and April Diane M. Holt, if you recall, was also arrested at the same time that Nick and Kayla were. Your affiant knows personally. Those are personalities of the Steel Toe Morning Show, which used to be on St. Cloud, Minnesota radio. However, as of recent years, the show has been a social media entertainment show, strictly online based. It was reported that M. Holtz may have been staying with the Requietas at their home, and it was in disarray and cluttered. In so much that even the officers, made note of just how dusty and dirty, cluttered, and dirty dishes and just general filth were strewn about the house, kind of indicating, a disordered family life. But we'll continue. It was reported from a church preschool teacher that the children had complained of being hungry, not fed, wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days at a time. Hey, there's nothing inherently wrong with that. And would start to smell. Oh, yeah, mine don't smell. That makes sense. Okay, Nicholas was reported being lethargic and appeared high or drugged driving a car around. Yeah, that's not good. That's not good at all, especially when you can back up accounts on his live stream, at least back when I used to watch, where he would talk about, driving his kids around on a couple hours sleep. Also, this was after him getting absolutely plastered on his live streams. Anyways, another individual advised the reported that Nicholas will walk out randomly during sermons at church and have noticed behavior changes in him. Oh, it was alleged that Kayla looked anorexic and Nicholas had lost a substantial amount of weight recently, which is, yes, something that we noted as well. Didn't really talk about lady rackets all that much. It's just her mugshot kind of speaks for itself. One individual described Nick as having injection or track marks on his arm. Yeah, you all know you get the itches and stuff when you're doing a lot of blow, which a bunch of other people, like I said, as I've been watching a bunch of this coverage from people that were closer to Nick, is like, yeah, Ricky Rackett's the Rail King. So less, not so much a moniker or a would-be superhero in so much as a reaction, or rather a reflection of real life. The reporter also reiterated concerns of possible neglect and or controlled substance use within the home, which after we figure out what got taken into custody after the search was executed, very much seems to be the case. Your affiant started to review Rekieta and M. Holt's social media blogs. Oh, so started watching some Rekieta Law live streams. Okay. Now the blogs are commonly related to legal issues, not so much recently, and high-profile trials, as Nick is a licensed attorney. Nick is known to drink alcoholic beverages excessively in these video blogs. What an old man way to refer to it. He's got the video blogs. Immediately noticed that Nicholas's appearance in recent months has changed in videos from January of 2024 compared to May of 2024. Nick appears to have lost weight, appears tired, and overall appears strung out, common with controlled substance users. Nick commonly refers to his studio as his basement in his own residence. Yeah, inside the vault. Like, it's got a vault door and all that stuff. It's great. Nick has been the victim of swatting phone calls and is known to your affiant and Kandahoe County Sheriff's Office because of these calls. Yeah, and that's why perhaps it took the police a little bit longer to intervene than normal. Like, this is another downstream effect of all of these false alerts, I don't know, attempt to get a guy, yeeted in front of his family, because that's what swatting ultimately does, man. I hate it. It's disgusting stuff. You have to put some skin in the game if you're going to call in that stuff. Anyways, while reviewing Imholtz's social media blogs, Aaron recently indicated that he and April are getting a divorce. I wonder why. Aaron goes on to say that he experimented with cocaine 3 times and Molly 6, because we're back in, the 80s, or 7 times in the past recently. On December 19th, 2023, the Imholtz broadcasted a podcast from Rekieta Studios, with the podcast being named Live from Spicer. The hot tub stream, throughout Imholtz's video blog, it is apparent that they and the Rekietas were friends and may have recently had a falling out. It should be noted that in recent videos of Imholtz, April has at times appeared tired, lethargic, and strung out as well. In both Nicholas and Imholtz video blogs from Rekieta Studios, it appears that they are in the same room and the items in the background appear the same. I would imagine so, right? And at one point during Imholtz videos, Nick walks into the background, grabs an item that would show the background and not a backdrop curtain, and then the layout of the actual room. Okay, cool. So they were both in the same place at the same time. Yeah, again, there's the hot tub videos of them on Nick's Locals. Like, come on. May 22nd. All right, here we are. Imholtz did a video blog which he talked about Nick and insinuated controlled substance use, and also referenced a video blog of Nick put online on the 21st that has since been taken off the internet. Oh, no, but those clips are out there. That's the one where he's, getting a blowy, redecorating the floor, passing out, going into withdrawals. You've seen the clip, and if you haven't, in my previous video, and in everybody's live streams on it. Imholtz indicates that this blog, Nick needs help and needs to get help for his kids because of the substance abuse. Imholtz points out a time in the video where Nicholas has white powdery substance on his nose, which, yeah, I've seen those screenshots go around. I don't know what to really take from it. Would he be so reckless as to do blow live on stream? I don't know how far along he is, okay? Who knows? It'd be tough to tell, even with the high quality cameras that he does have. What can he actually prove? Yeah, talking more specifically about the 21st video in the basement studio, talking about a Court of Appeals ruling that he lost, drinking a lot of booze, entering the video blog. Oh yeah, the entire video blog is 4 hours, 4 minutes long, approximately 2 hours, 46 minutes into the video. Nick leaves to use the restroom, returns at 2:50:40. He appears to be making an excited look and has a white powdery substance on his nose. Oh, so if the cops are thinking, he went out to do some blow and maybe potentially a couple of other things, they're going to be looking at this very, very, very closely. Your affiant believes, based on training and experience as well as the behavior of Nicholas, that he ingested his white powdery substance or his nasal cavity while off camera. Well, yeah, that, and also some of the items that they acquired during the search. Anyways, Affian noted that throughout the video, Nick is so under the influence of the substance that he points, he closes one eye to read his screen, rambles, and slurs his speech. Nick is obviously not able to care for his children in the state of intoxication. Well, to be fair, Nick does live stream late at night, so his kids would be asleep. But okay, yeah, sure, fair enough. That adds to your child neglect situation. Or, I'm sorry, charge. Yeah, okay, fine. The rest of this stuff is just, yeah, I have the experience, the officer this is, I have the experience to come to these conclusions, therefore adding to my credibility in regards to seeking the search warrant, which was obviously executed, and here we are. Officers Pomplum, Brannis, Ardoff, Nestor, and Twed were the ones executing this warrant. There's just all the legal stuff that's down there, obviously, but what's important is what ended up getting taken by the officers. Okay, now this guy has atrocious handwriting. Okay, Pomplum here, I can see why he types better. A short tube and cocaine. Okay, on the master nightstand. Okay, so the master bedroom nightstand, we heard about that before. A black vial with a white substance. Okay, on the master bed bedroom nightstand, credit cards from April Imholt, 22 spent casing, Sig Sauer AR, a glass metal container on, yes, the master bedroom dresser. This is really tough to read. Okay, you can see it as well. A bag with credit cards, dollar bill, and cocaine, master bedroom. A large cutter or large something white cut powder. Okay, a baggie, multiple small baggies, a safe, KFC. Is that what we're doing? Master bathroom or bedroom, maybe bathroom, could be. A Ziploc bag with multiple small baggies and white powder. Thank God the other officers have slightly better handwriting. Well, got a little bit more from Pompin here. Digital scale, okay. Metal pan with white powder. 2 short tubes and 2 cutters. A $100 bill with a white powdery substance in the master bedroom. Bindle bass. I'm not familiar with drug paraphernalia. Do excuse me. Scooper from the master closet suite. Okay. 2 baggies in a baggie with a funnel. Okay. Springfield Armory. Okay, so a 45 1911 rifle in the garage safe. Okay, 6 Sauer 380 handgun. Okay, magazines with ammo. Yeah, in the safe as well. So okay, so we had some firearms in the safe. Others, not so much. Ammunition from the garage. Remington 870 shotgun and a bullet from the master closet. That's everything. That's everything that was taken. Whole bunch of drugs. Seems like a whole bunch of drugs, right? And yeah, due to the allegations and what ended up being deduced from the mandatory reporter, I mean, you can come to certain conclusions, and Viva definitely has come to a few. Given the supplemental report and the Rekieta situation that was just released today, we now have additional information. Let's see what we can go ahead and, at least from the pro-constitutional side, the 4-point, the 2nd, 4th, 6th, and 8th Amendments, we can go ahead and try to mount a defense on this. The reports of possible neglect were from anonymous sources. You don't really think the kids are anonymous sources, but okay. Nobody told the reporter that there was anything other than possible neglect and or drug use, and there were 0 reports of any physical or sexual abuse. Is that needed in order to execute the search warrant? And the children were not in any immediate danger at the time of the report. Well, I don't know, going hungry, being dirty, and complaining of being as such, I guess. Okay. The way they got the magic number of barely over 25 grams of alleged cocaine, hence enhanced felony, which also fueled social media rumor of distribution, was by weighing with packaging. Yeah, that's something else that's in there, right? Like they just rounded up everything white powdery substance in baggies, in other baggies as well, magically coming to 25.6 pounds, or not 25.6 pounds. He'd be in a hell of a lot more trouble if that was the case. But no, grams. It's like, that's probably enough for like a party, I think, maybe. Like I said, I don't know anything about drugs really. Oh yeah, and apparently the first indication that there was something wrong with the Rekieta family was that the nanny stopped working for Rekieta about 4 to 5 years and began working for another family. I'm sure that those already committed to the drug abuser, child neglecting Nick narrative will have the courage and maturity to reassess. Yeah, I don't really know, man, because you trying to go down with the ship on this one. Trying to go, 26.67 grams with the packaging. That means that the kids are totally fine and everything's great. And you're saying everybody else should reassess their situation? I mean, it was reported from, a church preschool teacher that the children had complained of being hungry and not being fed and wearing the same clothes for 3 to 4 days at a time and would start to smell. Nowhere does it say that the kids were the source of that information if accuracy is our objective. Yeah, I mean, the kids didn't directly go to the cops, but rather they went to their preschool teacher, which they're homeschooled in their church co-op, and it was noted that multiple times at the church, Nick had been displaying some questionable behaviors. I mean, I think that there's more than enough grounds for probable cause, and as a lawyer, I think you should probably take your own advice. And so we have the pro Nick narrative. We'll have the courage and maturity to reassess instead of just, I don't know, lash out irrationally at like Andrew. This is so stupid. Legal mindset is beyond words. Barnes Law does not have any contract with Rumble, so that's one minor flaw in your amazingly stupid theory. Number 2, as far as I know, no other Oh, there are no contractual obligations to promote other Rumble creators. Who would agree to such a provision given the variety of content creators on Rumble? Well, okay, what are we talking about right here? Well, Andrew, on one of his many popular streams, got a super chat from somebody, and he just decided to entertain the idea. Does Barnes have a financial incentive in Nick making streaming dollars on Rumble to get some of Nick's contract money back? Because, well, okay, if we're going to be completely honest, okay, like take a look at the little badge that's right next to Viva's name right there. Okay, he and Barnes are very much affiliated. Hell, they helped draft some of the rules and regulations on the platform. Not saying that's bad or anything, just saying that it is. So is it out of the realm of possibility that you'd want to have one of your high-profile signees want to come out the other side to just have them being a victim of the government, to try to have that narrative as opposed to, yeah, drug-abusing child neglector? I think that one is probably a little bit better for your brand than the other, especially if you're so tied at the hip with a platform that, I mean, man, take a look over the past couple of years, all of the high-profile signees, like outside of the Tates, outside of Fresh and Fit, who has actually been a boon on the platform? Like, he made all this hubbub about DJ Academics. He's done absolutely nothing. Gideon, within like a month or two of him signing an exclusive Rumble contract, converted to Christ and completely tanked his live streaming business. Kai Sinat and I Show Speed's exclusive show, when was the last time that they did one? So yeah, the only person that was streaming on there regularly that hasn't been mentioned before was Nick. And if he completely and totally implodes over this, yeah, Rumble ends up looking really bad, and its long-term viability does end up coming into question on this. So yeah, it's fair to at least theorize that, you know, the health of the creators that they signed long-term would end up reflecting onto the people most closely associated with it. But to take such offense to an off-handed super chat? Like, I'm not even sure if Nick is under contract with Rumble any longer. Well, that's interesting. But that would only be material insofar as a morality clause might exist between him and Rumble. I award you no points. Yeah, all that stuff. So let's give Andrew the final word on this. Sorry, Canadian legal education did not include a commercial contract clause. Let me explain. I mean, this is kind of Andrew's area of expertise. Non-disparagement is quite a common contractual term. I've reviewed several international contracts from various countries, which include these terms. Feel free to catch up on my past VODs. Now, we also have a cause of action in America called tortious interference. Look it up. I'm not privy to Robert's financial agreements with locals and Rumbles, but the last time I checked, Viva Barnes law exists on locals, which is owned by and closely integrated with Rumble. Facts. It is rather concerning that you would know nothing about the arrangement from a community bearing your name and branding. But hey, I'm sure none of this is as likely as a massive government conspiracy to convince the world that Nick Rekieta is a child neglecting substance abuser. Yeah, the number of hoops that one of these parties is jumping through in order to come to a conclusion is a little bit more substantial than the other. I'm not saying this just because I tend to align with one party as opposed to the other more so. I'm just saying the facts are on one side, and if you want to go with conspiracy theories on the other, or far-fetched legal theories, well, by all means hop over there. But again, we don't have all the facts in this situation. I'm just saying the next time we talk about this, we'll probably be reviewing some body cam footage, and well, I don't necessarily know what that's going to show, but you know what we're ultimately going to have to deal with? A lengthy prison term of some form or fashion. It'll have to be decided in front of a judge that has had her fair share of Nick Rekieta in the past. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.